Hi, Genki Call here with your Soulforge offerings for the week of October 31st, 2022. Before we get started, I want to show you King Ollie's amazing list of remaining Soulforge mythics, and those are going to be right here. I know that's probably pretty hard to see, so I will give you a link to this page. You can see it whether you're on Discord or not. It's just an image link, so that if you see something on this list that you want more than what is in the Soulforge right now, be sure to keep that in mind because any of these could be coming up next week, or it could be 3 months from now. We never know. So let's head in and see what is in the Soulforge. There is some good stuff in here, and there's some crap in here as well. So let's go over those things right now. First of all, for the legendaries, we have Jarl Fire Mantle. He creates 9 red and 9 yellow gems. He does some damage to an enemy, one enemy, burns a random enemy on 4+ gem matches, which is great if you're doing something that has a bonus for burning enemies like Fireblade, or just double damage or triple damage for whatever reason for the burn. But generally speaking, he's very situational. He's not something that's spectacular. Onknoom, likewise, I like him for delving. He does damage to all enemies. He has a boost for cursed enemies, and for every cursed enemy, give a barrier to a random ally. And he has a 25% chance to curse a random enemy when the turn begins. As far as cursing troops go, he's not the best, but that barrier is awfully nice. But again, situational. Ursuvius, another one that's situational. It's just we've got the burn, we've got skull damage reduction. He does enrage himself when he takes damage, but that's damage to life, not damage to armor. So if he's up there and he's getting hit, but it's only damaging his armor, he's not going to get the enrage. 50% chance to burn a random enemy at the start of the turn, and then he has a boost by burning and enraged allies and enemies. So running with fire gems could be fun because then both teams could be on fire. ah, as far as these three go, is there another one? Yes, one more. Nexus Portal. So I already went over this. You can get this with your event keys this week if you manage to pull a legendary. It can backfire. It does summon, which is great. But the elemental stars, I love the elemental stars, but they can backfire. So keep that in mind with this. As far as these legendaries go, would I recommend any of them? Absolutely not. Not worth 800 diamonds at all, unless you are power blocked and just have to have them or have a specific team you're dying to try out with them. I would not recommend crafting any of these legendaries. Now, as far as the mythics go, one of my favorites is here. That is the Arachnaean Weaver. You probably already have this if you've been around for a while, because there was a while where an issue where we got it for half price, but if you don't have it, Arachnaean Weaver is probably my all-time most used mythic ever. Webs all enemies, does true damage to the last 2 enemies. If something dies, it explodes 15 gems, so I use it as a finisher a lot of the time. And the web means that their magic gets reduced to 0. That doesn't mean that they can't do any damage to you. If there's no purple on their card, webbing does nothing to them. And maybe they can do a few points of damage to you with 0 magic, but for the most part, it's going to just decimate the enemy team if they have spell-based anything. Plus, the most powerful summons in the game. The web spinner, if you have it traded, is going to web. Is it web? It's going to web whenever it uses. Let me just pull it up. Sorry, I can't mushroom my thoughts. I'm tired. Let me pull this up and show you how powerful the web spinner is, if you don't already know. So, damage to all enemies, poisons them, creates 9 green gems. We don't actually care about that. What we care about is it inflicts web when doing skull damage, and then it's going to do triple skull damage. If they're immune to web, you get them poisoned and you can still do triple skull damage. So it's really, really strong. It's a great summons. And by the way, did you notice the background is different? you may not notice, but if you've been playing the game for a while, you know that that is not what Zulkari is supposed to look like, but they have changed this, and basically we're getting a sneak peek of what is to come for Zulkari. And I confirmed that with the devs. Anyway, let's go back in here to the Soulforge, to Rips. Arachnaean Weaver is amazing, as is Shahbanu Vespera, but Shahbanu is very situational, and I will have links, thumbnails at the end of this video to my Mythic spotlights on Arachnaean Weaver and Shahbanu Vespera for you, so you can check those out if you're interested. I'm using her in the world event right now because it's so fun. But she gives this amount, half magic +1, to a random skill to an ally, creates 9 gems of one of their mana colors, then repeats 2 more times for random allies. If you're using a monochromatic team, you're using all blue, all purple, or all yellow, you loop and you loop and you loop. You get crazy stats and you just decimate the enemy team. It's kind of slow, but it's fun. This is actually kind of terrible, but because it uses 2 of the same color Shahbanu does, but it's alright. It's a summons if you have to have one. Then we have Dao, which is exactly like Shahbanu Vespera, except not as good. He eliminates from a random skill on an enemy, destroys 8 gems of one of their mana colors, not explode, not duplicate. He's destroying it as if they were matched. And then repeats 2 more times for random enemies. You know, I don't actually have him, but he just doesn't look good. He just does not look, because he can't loop like she can. Destroying, you know, there's a chance you might get a match 4 out of it with things dropping down where those gems were, but you're much more likely, you're kind of guaranteed to, almost guaranteed to loop with Shahbanu, whereas Dao, it's a maybe, maybe, maybe. Lastly, wait, I'm missing something. There should be 4. Arachnaean Weaver, Shahbanu, Dao, and Tiamata. Alright, got it. Tiamata. Tiamata's okay. Damage to all enemies, then create 3 4x wild cards. Skull damage reduction creates wild cards. It gains 10 life when an enemy casts a spell. That's great. I've used him in Delving, where, you know, all troops are more powerful when you have a horde involved. And he just still kind of fell flat. He's not amazing, but if you need him for the power level at Dragon's Claw, But keep in mind that list I showed you at the beginning of the video. Before you decide to craft any of these things. High King Irongut could be coming around again anytime, so keep that in mind as well if you don't have them yet. As for weapons, I haven't even looked. What have we got? We've got Natura Star, so this is one of those cheapy 75 gem ones. This was $5 at one point, so remove all brown gems. It's not going to do anything mana-wise for you, but it will boost your spell, and it will deny brown to your enemies. And then if they're from Nexus, or if the battle's a Nexus, deal double damage. Nice and cheap if you need a weapon for your power levels. Then we've got Thorn's Blade. Damage to an enemy boosted by green and elemental allies. So for each green ally you get +3, and for each elemental ally you get +3. So you can get +24 on this. Plus it creates a leaf storm, which is nice, and it entangles the first enemy. Also nice. There are better weapons out there, but for an event when you're very, very limited, it might be helpful. Vulcan's Mace. Damage to an enemy boosted by Nexus allies, then create a mix of 6 red and brown gems for each Nexus ally. It's okay. Ocea's Tome, highly recommended. Ocea's Tome is amazing. Explode 4 gems. Random gems. Doesn't matter what color it is. It doesn't have to be a specific color, and that's what makes it so great. For each blue ally and for each elemental ally, you've got, you can have just blue, you can have just elemental, you can have a mix of the two. Each one, blue and elemental, just like before, could have an extra 24 explosions. It's super, super powerful, and it creates an ice storm. So highly recommend getting Ocea's Tome if you don't have it yet. Then we have Krista's Scythe. That should be the last one here. Krista's Scythe. Stun all enemies and then create 3 elemental stars. You've got Elementalist to create, or to stun, but again, you don't want to get weapon blocked on your kingdoms, but we are not to that point at Nexus where you're actually going to need all of the weapons. So technically, I would recommend absolutely get Ocea's Tome, maybe get Natura's Star, and unless you have a reason to get the others, just wait for now until the next time we come back to Nexus, because you don't need them right now for your power levels, as far as I know. Alright, is that it? Is that it? Are we done? That is it. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments down below. Please like and subscribe if you would, and we'll see you folks soon. Bye-bye!